Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back in with another video. LEGO Star Wars holds such a big place in our hearts. We all have very strong feelings about a lot of these sets, however through nostalgia or just plain hype, I think we can get carried away. So I bring to you today my top 10 list of the most overrated LEGO Star Wars sets. Before I get started, I do want to say that this is not a list of sets that I think are necessarily bad, just ones that I feel we give a little too much praise. Number 10 on the list is the 75054 AT-AT. I put this one at the bottom of the list because it does have a lot of redeemable qualities. AT-ATs are always going to sell well as LEGO sets, and this one is no different. To this day, if you wanted to buy one, even used, you'll end up paying more than it retailed for. The biggest reason I put it on the list, however, is because I feel the original LEGO AT-AT 4483 has such a superior design. For one, the armor in the original one just looks a lot more bulky. The newest one looks like a slimmed down AT-AT. You can especially tell this in the legs. Whenever I first saw the new design for the AT-AT starting with 8129, the first thing I noticed was how they were using 4x4 dishes instead of 6x6 dishes for the hips, and I do feel it makes a huge difference in the overall aesthetic of the set. As an aside, I always hated when LEGO displayed the AT-ATs like this. I mean, look at it. It looks like it's on a runway or modeling high heels or something. To be fair though, it is doing a pretty good job at it, so you go girl. Number 9 is the most controversial set on this list, and it is no other than the 10179 UCS Millennium Falcon. Up until 2017, this set was a holy grail for all LEGO Star Wars collectors and still is for many. I don't have to reiterate here how many thousands of dollars the sealed version of one of these would have cost you back then and even still today. But if we take a step back from all the hype surrounding this set, its age really shows. 75192 really showed us just how dated the set is. I mean, honestly, it's just not very detailed and kind of bland looking, especially putting it next to the newer one. I understand that with the newer one out, it's really easy to say that the older one is overrated, but I would have put this set on the list even if the newer one had never come out. In all honesty, even with this set being a huge LEGO rendition of the most iconic Star Wars ship ever, it was never truly worth the thousands of dollars people were asking for it. Number 8 on the list is the 8018 AAT. Now, I don't know if it's just because it's from the Clone Wars, but people seem to love this set. But there's one problem: it's way too big. It's not a bad looking set, in fact it's actually a quite good looking set, but it's oversized for what it should be. This wouldn't be a big criticism of mine except for the fact that LEGO already made a more accurately sized AAT many years earlier with the original. Number 7 on my list is the 8014 Clone Battle Pack. Now I understand that back in the day, when the Clone Wars was at a height and clone army building was on the rage, this thing was basically a godsend, but that does not change the fact that these Clone Wars clones are some uggos. They just don't look good. The fact that some people like these and to this day even prefer them to the newer updated episode 2 clones really does blow my mind. These things just don't look good to me. I get it, this was a useful battle pack back in the day, it had 3 standard clones and made clone army building very convenient, but these things just don't look good. Let's get over them. Number 6 is the 10240 UCS Red 5 X-Wing. I have high standards for this set because it was a re-release, meaning there was already a precedent set for the model. All they had to do was improve it with newer parts and build techniques. The fatal flaw, however, is the fact that the engines are just way too small. The engines are the same size as the most recent playset X-Wing. At the time, the engines would have been slightly larger than the most recent playset X-Wing, but that still wouldn't have been enough. You'd think that for a UCS set that is twice as big as the playset, the engines would also be twice as big. With a set like this that's a re-release, you would hope that it would have some longevity. However, with such a big flaw, we need yet another re-release of this X-Wing with bigger engines right now. Number 5 on the list is going to be 75153 ATST. Everyone seems pretty satisfied with the set, however I have 2 problems with it that make it a no-go for me. The first is that the body is just too short and stubby looking. If they're not able to make it more narrow, I would like it if they at least made it a little bit taller, even if it'd be slightly inaccurate, just so the proportions look correct. The second thing, and this is the biggest one, the fact that it still can only fit 1 pilot. This is the 4th ATST they've made at this scale, and it still can only fit 1 pilot. I feel that's a question I'm going to take to my grave. Like seriously, on my gravestone, I want the question written, why could LEGO never fit 2 pilots in an ATST? Number 4 on the list is not just one set, but actually a few sets, and it is every LEGO Snowspeeder at the playset scale. I couldn't just pick one because it seems that all of them are basically the exact same design, absent the first one. But look, here's the biggest issue. The fact that there are so many of these Snowspeeders released over a couple decades and they still have the same general design, That's a big problem. LEGO needs to just stop using that cockpit piece altogether. It doesn't look good, it's outdated, and it's not even accurate to what it's supposed to be. The Snowspeeders needed an overhaul for a very long time. There are so many mocks that do such a better job at capturing the overall aesthetic of the LEGO Snowspeeder. Now I understand LEGO's not going to make sets that are equivalent to mock quality. They have many more things than mock creators do to consider whenever they're designing a set, but for them to not even make an effort at changing the general design of the Snowspeeder after such a long time, I feel is just appalling. This thing needs an overhaul. I don't like the way it looks. Number 3 on the list is the 10178 motorized AT-AT. I remember as a little kid, my grandmother took me to the LEGO store for the first time ever, and I was so excited to get this set. I got home, put it together, and I watched it walk around for a little bit, and I did think it was really cool. That novelty wore off pretty quickly, however, once I realized that the set just didn't look very good. I think this one is easily the worst looking LEGO AT-AT that they have released at this scale. I understand that they had to work around the whole mechanic of having it being able to walk, so the design wasn't going to be perfect, but the fact that it is just the worst looking AT-AT, I really does feel detract from the overall model. I mean, to me it really always is going to boil down to, does the set look good? And if it doesn't look good, then it's never going to be the model to get. And then so far as this is the worst looking AT-AT they've released in my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of it. This is one of those sets that commands a pretty huge price on the aftermarket, and I really don't understand why. Mine is sitting in a bag somewhere, disassembled, and I have no intentions on ever putting it back together. The legs look totally displaced, they're literally like cutting into the armor of the body. I feel that it really lacks a lot of the detail on the armor, it's overall too fat for what it is, and like I said, it's probably the worst LEGO rendition of an AT-AT walker at this scale. Number 2 on the list is the 10221 UCS Superstar Destroyer. If you're viewing the ship from above, it's almost flawless. It is absolutely massive, it has some really nice greebling on the top and along the sides, and it even has a little interior where you can set up the Superstar Destroyer bridge scene with Vader and the bounty hunters. The problem, however, is that the bottom is completely flat. If you take the original Superstar Destroyer, the bottom is one of the coolest views you can even get of the ship because for one, it's not flat, but two, it has the garage that you can put the mini Tantive IV in. The fact that the Superstar Destroyer has no detail on the bottom is just unacceptable. For a set that retailed for almost $400, you at the very least expect for the overall shape of the model to be correct, but for them to just skimp out on the bottom is very lazy in my opinion. People are paying almost $1,000 for this set on the aftermarket, and I just don't think it's worth it unless you plan on modifying the bottom yourself. Number 1 on my list is the 8039 Venator class Republic Attack Cruiser. I am blown away by some of the prices I've seen people are willing to pay for this thing. I have so many problems with this set. Firstly, it's just ugly. The Venator is a beautifully designed ship, and this one does not do it justice. It always bothered me how the top of the front has this drastic downward slant while the bottom is just flat. Secondly, I don't think it makes good use of the interior at all. Most of the ship is taken up by Palpatine's office. When I think of a Venator, the last thing I think about is Palpatine's office. This would have been such a cool time for us to get a minifigure of a Republic officer, or even a cool interior of a Venator bridge, but they said, yeet! Palpatine's office. The middle section is taken up by a bomb gimmick that you wouldn't really associate with a Venator. It's also the smallest of all the Star Destroyers at this scale. And lastly, it includes what might be the ugliest LEGO Star Wars minifigure ever, Palpatine. And that's going to finish up the video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Of course, in the comment section, let me know what sets do you think are overrated, and how did you feel about my list? Do you think that I should take some sets out, throw some sets in? What do you think? Like I always say, guys, if you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing the subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.